You know, there was this silence in the Harrington mansion. It wasn't a peaceful quiet. No, it was heavy, a living thing. I could feel it right here in my chest, just pressing down. It was the kind of quiet a house gets when it's seen too much and learned to say nothing. A house just holding its breath. And that last night, so was I. Oh, from the outside, I'm sure anyone would have killed to be me. Elena Harrington, Victor's wife, living in that masterpiece of glass and steel he built right on the cliffs. But all that glass, it wasn't for the ocean view. It was for his view of me. Victor never gave me an allowance. No, he just reviewed my credit card statements. He didn't ask how my day was. He watched the security footage. That house? God, it wasn't my home. It was just the most beautiful cage you could ever imagine. And then Marcus came, my stepdaughter Sophia's boyfriend, and he just shattered the silence. I remember the first time I really saw him. He was out on the terrace, kind of, I don't know, arguing with the wind, laughing as it just tore through his hair. He was all heat, all motion, not cold and still like Victor. He was just alive. And when they met mine, it wasn't that look Victor always gave me, that assessing gaze like he owned me. No, it was the look of a man actually seeing a woman. And right there, in that one look, I felt a crack form in the glass. There was this one night, Victor was working late, of course. The house was so quiet. I went down to the kitchen and there was Marcus, standing there with the moonlight just painting the marble counters silver. We started talking. It was pointless stuff, about Sophia, the weather, but we weren't really talking. We were circling each other. And the space between us, it just got smaller with every empty word. The air got so thick. And then the silence came back. But this time it was different. It was charged. It was the kind of silence where everything is being said without a single sound. He raised his hand, not to touch me, just to let it hover right over my arm. And in that tiny space between his skin and mine, everything was decided. Everything. It didn't even feel like a choice, It was more like tipping over an edge I didn't even know I was standing on. Our affair, it was like this secret fire in a house made of ice. We moved like shadows, like thieves, a quick touch in a dark hallway, a look across the dinner table that felt more intimate than any kiss. My God, every creak of the floorboard sounded like a gunshot. Every single time I heard Victor's car in the driveway, my heart would just stop, dead in my chest. We were drowning in the fear of it all, but God, we were addicted to the rush, just surviving it moment by moment. And Victor, he started to know. I mean, he didn't know what, but he could feel it. The whole atmosphere in the house shifted. The silence got heavier, more suspicious. I could feel his eyes on me constantly, even when he wasn't in the room. That little red light on the security camera in our bedroom, it was like his third eye, always on, always watching me. He started asking questions. Where were you? Who were you talking to? The walls of the cage were shrinking, and I could feel the air just running out. His cruelty, it just got sharper. It became a weapon he used all the time. I remember at this one dinner party, he just smiled at our friends and told them I had the taste of a pauper, and that it was his job to correct my breeding. In front of everyone. He would look Marcus right in the eye and call him a boy with no future, a leech. He was just poisoning everything. The air, my relationship with Sophia, how I saw myself, and the resentment I felt. Day by day, it just curdled into something colder, harder. It wasn't just resentment anymore. It was pure, clean hatred. And hatred like that, it demands you do something. It was Marcus who said it first, just a whisper. We were in the library. I can still smell the old paper and leather. And Victor was upstairs. We could hear his footsteps, so heavy, deliberate, right above our heads. And Marcus just looks at me and says it. What happens when he dies? And the thing is, it didn't shock me. Not at all. It felt logical, like the only next step. The question just hung there in the air between us, so clear and so dangerous. I looked at him, and there was no fear in his eyes. None. Just resolve. And suddenly, the idea of a life without Victor, it wasn't a fantasy anymore. It was a goal. So we started watching him, really watching him, not like a wife and her stepdaughter's boyfriend. No. We were like predators, studying his every move, his habits, his routines. And that evening walk, he took it every single night after dinner, same time, same exact route along the cliff path. We'd watch from the window, just his silhouette against the sunset. One afternoon, we walked the path ourselves. I remember running my hand over the railing. The wood was just rotten, splintered. It barely held together. And below, there was nothing but rocks and that churning, hungry ocean. It wouldn't take much at all. Just an accident. A tragic, plausible accident. The night we picked, it was cold. And so still. The moon was gone, just hidden behind clouds. Victor was distracted, going on and on about some business deal gone wrong. He was tired. He was vulnerable. After dinner, I just let the silence sit there for a long time. And then I heard this voice. It was my voice, but it sounded like a stranger's. So calm, so steady. Let's get some air. Let's take a walk. He just grunted and pushed his chair back. He didn't suspect a thing, not a single thing. Oh God, my blood was just roaring in my ears. Every single step on that gravel path felt like a countdown. My hands were shaking so bad I had to hide them in my pockets. The sea spray, it felt like ice hitting my face. And then I saw him, up ahead in the shadows by the cypress tree. A shape, darker than the rest. Marcus. He was waiting. My heart, it felt like a bird trying to beat its way out of my chest. I just thought, just a few more steps, that's all. And then, I did it. Exactly like we planned. I twisted my ankle, or I pretended to, and just fell into him. Hard. Pushing him off balance, right toward the railing. He was strong, though. He grunted, and his hand just shot out, grabbed my arm to stop himself from falling. His fingers dug into my skin so hard, and for just a second, I saw it in his eyes. Confusion. He almost caught himself. Almost. And then, that shadow by the tree, it just detached itself from the darkness. It was Marcus. He didn't make a sound. It was just movement. He put both his hands on Victor's back, and he shoved. It wasn't even a struggle. It was just one final push. I felt his grip on my arm just vanish. His weight, it was just gone. He tipped backward, and that rotten railing, it splintered with this sad, tired crack. I didn't scream. I didn't even move. I watched his shape fall away into the blackness until the ocean just swallowed him whole. There was a scream, but it was so short, just this brief, tearing sound that the waves just cut off. And after that, a new kind of silence, deeper than any silence before. It was absolute. The wind was howling, the waves were crashing against the rocks, but that's not what I heard. I heard the absence of him. I heard the empty space where his life used to be. And it was the loudest sound I have ever heard. And they believed us. Everyone did. The police, they were so kind, so sympathetic. A terrible accident, they said. That path is treacherous. And there I was, the grieving widow, too distraught to even speak. And Sophia, sweet Sophia, holding my hand. And Marcus, her loyal boyfriend, handling everything, his face just a perfect mask of sorrow. We played our parts so well. We gave our statements. And just like that, the truth was buried, much deeper than his body ever would be. At first, for a few weeks, the freedom was just intoxicating. But the secret we had, it was poison, and it started to seep into everything. The way Marcus looked at me, it changed. The heat was gone. It was replaced by something cold, possessive. We weren't lovers anymore, united by some passion. We were just two people, tied together by what we did. And the silence came back to that house, but this time it was filled with guilt. It was absolutely suffocating. I started waking up in the middle of the night, my heart just pounding, and I'd see him. Not Victor, no. Marcus. I stopped seeing him as my lover. I saw him as a loose end, a witness, The only other person on this planet who could destroy me. He held all the power now. He'd taken Victor's place, but it was so much worse. Victor owned my house. Marcus owned my life. I realized I hadn't escaped a cage at all. I'd just traded one keeper for another. And he never saw it coming. Not for a second. He actually thought we were a team. He'd talk about our future, our money. He had no idea that I couldn't even stand to look at him anymore. Because every time I did, all I could see was Victor falling. See, with a secret like this, there can only be one person who knows. So, one night, I made him his favorite drink. And he smiled at me, that same damn smile that I used to love. He trusted me, completely, and that was his mistake. So now there was another tragedy for the poor Harrington family. Sophia, she was heartbroken. Her boyfriend, you see, was just so overcome with grief from Victor's death that he just left. In the middle of the night, packed a bag and disappeared. That's the story I told her. Just another lie to cover up another body. And the house, it just swallowed that secret whole, same as the ocean did. So Sophia, she lost everyone. Her father to the sea, her boyfriend to a lie, and then me. I waited 2 weeks, just long enough. Then I packed my bags, took all the money, and I was gone. I just vanished. I left her all alone in that huge glass house with nothing but the silence and its ghosts. And that was the cruelest thing I did, leaving her. That's the part that stays with me. I sometimes wonder if the house is still there, just watching the sea. I know it is. It knows. It saw everything. The truth, it's in the foundation of that place. It's in the cold glass reflecting that empty sky. It holds everything. It's keeping all my secrets. Even now, I'm 1,000 miles from any coast, in a city that never sleeps. But I still hear the ocean sometimes. In the middle of the night, I'll wake up and I can hear it. The sound of the waves crashing on those rocks. It's this constant echo, always there, in the quietest parts of my mind. It's a reminder. But it's not really the waves that keep me awake. It's the other sound, the one from the moment right before the silence took over. It wasn't his scream, no. It was the sound before the scream, just a short, sharp gasp. The sound of all the air being stolen from his lungs, the moment he realized what was happening. The moment he realized it was me. That sound? That's the one that never, ever goes away.